Hey everybody, it's Matt and Heather with the Joyful Family Podcast. We're so excited that you're here today. Welcome.
Yes, and we're going to tackle a super fun subject, and it's titled For Better, For Worse, because everyone loves the better part of the marriage, the romance, the living your dreams, the vacations. We went...
The highlight reels.
Yes, the highlight reels. And not anyone really enjoys the worst part, the uncomfortable, the bad seasons. And at one point, we've mentioned this before, we had 4 kids, 4 and under. I worked full-time. Heather stayed home. And the pregnancy with the twins was the beginning of a very challenging season of our life that lasted...
A long time.
A long time. A very long time. But we endured it.
Well, and we also enjoyed parts of it. Like, we still found joy in that journey. Like, our kids, that was so fun. Like, 4 under the age of 4, it sounds insane. But it was really, well, it was insane. But it was really fun, too. And so, yes, it was hard. But it was also, there was joy in it, too.
Yeah, and I think it's important to realize that every marriage will experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes it's good, bad, and ugly at the same time. And it doesn't mean that you're broke or dysfunctional. It just means that life has seasons. And there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes. It says, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to harvest, a time to kill, a time to heal. I mean, you get the sense here that there's going to be ebbs and flows. And I know for someone who grew up in Texas, I'm so thankful that it's not permanent summer. I'm so glad when the season of summer ended, whenever it wasn't crazy hot, and fall came. And so what I want to encourage you is, just because you're going through a rough season, it doesn't mean that's the permanent landscape of your marriage unless you make it that way.
Yeah, you can choose to stay there. It's not a wise choice, but a lot of people do that. They get stuck in the routine and the rut, and it becomes their normal, and they're content in their normal. They're content in their misery, and they never want to fight to go to the next level to get things to a better level.
Yeah, and the current season that we're in right now, excuse me, pardon me.
Current season is hard.
Because of that, the flu.
Part of that. We just got over flu B in our house, and we were all, for 5 or 6 days, nobody could leave because we had flu B. That's a hard season whenever you have...
But it was at the end of... Today is 6 weeks from the day that I had my knee surgery.
Yes.
That was a really joyful time.
No, it wasn't. He's lying.
So apparently, I am not really good at pain meds. And a certain medicine that they put me on to try to manage the pain after the surgery, because the nerve block didn't work. Pain was not good. And the one medicine that worked made me a little bit grumpy. It made me... In fact, I said things that were even tone-wise to Heather that I've never said.
In 22 years of marriage, some of the things he'd never said. And so I knew it was the medicine. Doesn't make it easy in that moment, though. I knew that it wasn't him, that it was the meds talking on his behalf. We got off of those, or he got off of those as quickly as possible. Yep. Of course, it wasn't something that we stayed in, but there are times when our spouse is not the best version of their self. And there were times I got my feelings crushed and I was really, really hurt. And, it was part of it. But it wasn't him, And so I knew that it was just a season and I knew it would end, but it was still hard. They're still hard that we have to walk through, and it's not fun.
No, and one thing that I would say that I love about my wife is that she never allowed me to settle into the rut of a pity party or to let it be okay that I wasn't the best version of myself. She had grace, but the expectation was, hey, Matt, we're going to get through, Matt, the pain meds, we need to try to figure out how to manage the pain without these, hey, don't suck into this. And so she was helping push me in a very constructive way and not allowing me to sit in a pity party. And because what happens sometimes is you just give up. And it's like, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of the struggle. I'm tired of it being hard. I'm tired of the friction. I'm tired of dealing with the finances. Life can get you to that point, and it's really easy to just mail it in, but we have to keep going. You have to keep fighting. And when I say fighting for your marriage, fighting for your relationship. Instead of, it's really easy to those seasons to get very toxic in the relationship, if she had not had so much grace for me, she could have internalized and personalized and everything that was going wrong and lashed out and left me to go fend for myself, crawling around the house on one leg or whatever it was going to be. But she didn't. And so you have to remind yourself, what are you fighting for? And that's something that you see sometimes what you want to see. Whenever you're in a rut and you're looking at all the negatives, you find every single negative there is. And as amazing as she is, if I want to sit down and look for reasons to be mad at my wife, I'm going to find something if I look hard enough. And my thoughts at that point become toxic. And so you have to remind yourself, it's like, she's an amazing wife. She is incredibly gracious. She helped me put socks and I mean, at one point I couldn't have gotten dressed without this woman. And so like she's so faithful. And I mean, there's things out there. If you want to find the bad, you're going to find them. But if you're going to find the good, you're going to find that too.
And there's times whenever we get so tired. There was one point in the midst of all of this, like January's been the longest year ever. And just, it felt like one thing after another going wrong, appliances breaking, kids acting out, dealing with this. Then we all end up with the flu. Like it literally was just snow piling. And one day I just got frustrated and I came in my bathroom and I slammed the door. I was like, I'm done. And you can't do that, by the way. And Matt came in and he goes, oh, really? You're done? Done with what? Because that's not an option for you. And I'm like, I know it isn't. I'm just frustrated, but we can't. Some people do. They say they're done and they just quit. That's not an option. Quitting is not an option. You keep pushing forward. There's a husband relying on me. There's kids relying on me. There's people relying on me to help with their marriages and families. Like, I don't have that option to just quit. And so get that vocabulary out of your mind and out of your head. Like, quitting is not an option. I'm going to keep pushing forward. And life is sometimes hard. I have a tattoo on my arm. It says grit and grace. And every time I feel like quitting, Matt will go, look down at your arm. You've got it tattooed on you. Keep going. Get some more grit and push forward. And so I do, but sometimes it's exhausting. And sometimes I do have a day where I just lay down and go, I ain't doing it today. I'm tired and I need a break. And taking a break from the busy of life is okay. You can't take a break from your spouse. You can't take a break from your kids.
You can't turn your marriage off.
You can't turn it all off, but you can take a mental day and say, hey, I just need a minute. And my husband, and thankfully, is very gracious, knowing that I need that mental break. And so he allows that for me. But
and sometimes understand the burden that your spouse has. And I can tell whenever she needs a break. And I'll say, hey, I need you to go away for a while. I need you to just go find some peace. Go, don't be mom for a minute. Don't be wife for a minute. Go get coffee, go to Target, go to whatever it is. And being very marriage aware, self-aware, and also spouse aware is so important in a hard season, because sometimes you'll see whenever your spouse is about to hit that burnout wall and you can prevent that. Say, hey, I can tell right now you need a little bit of a break. Take one. And that is so healing for her, because I know she needs her quiet time. She needs to have that time where she can just step away from, no one wants anything from her, just for a few minutes and just be for a little bit.
What you don't do to your spouse, just a little tidbit here. Don't go, yo, you're cranky, get out. That's not the way. Approach it with grace and love.
Okay, so wording is everything, and she's basically calling me out because I did that, and
He's done that. And so, but then I told him, hey, that's not like a compliment or like a blessing to me. Like, you're basically calling me cranky.
Good intentions, bad
delivery.
Yes, bad.
Anyways, we do these things. We do them wrong. Just because we teach on marriage and it doesn't mean that we do them all right. Yeah. And so sometimes we get on here and we tell you, hey, we did this wrong. Don't do it this way.
So one of the most common questions we get is, what do you do if you're in a hard season and your spouse doesn't want to fight for your marriage and you're the only one fighting? Or that season seems like it's turned into, like we talked about when, she was pregnant with the twins. And that one season lasted a year and a half.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
The pregnancy didn't, but...
Well, no. But the first year of the twins' life, there was medical problems and sleep deprivation, and it was just hard. And so what do you do if you feel like you're the only one fighting for the marriage, or you're the only one that's willing to put an effort in? And this is something that you
so I talk to women a lot, and he talks to the men about this. If you can't make your spouse want to fix things. You can't nag them enough. You can't drag them to counseling. Some people have tried. It typically doesn't work well. You can't force them. You can't be their mommy and make them do something. And so I always tell people, if you're in that position and your spouse doesn't, start working on you. Start working on things, because most of the time, marriage 50-50, actually it's 100-100, but you're half of the equation, and don't think that they're the only problem. You have issues that contribute to the problem, whether we like to admit that or not. And so, mine is sometimes I'm controlling and I'm a hothead. Those are two things that I have to work on a regular basis. I'm pretty open about that, whatever, but I'm the temper of the two of us. He's the calm one. And so I have to work on that continually. And so if I was in that position, I'd start working on me. I'd start working on controlling my temper. I'd start working on controlling my emotions. And then you just pray. You pray over your spouse. You pray over their pillow. You pray over their clothes. You pray over everything that's, and constantly just lift them up in prayer while you're working on yourself. And a lot of times as we start focusing on fixing us, then God starts doing the work for your spouse, and he starts pulling them around and changing their heart, and they start seeing the change in you, and then that starts to bring change in the home and in the marriage.
Yeah, and I think as I'm the best version of me, I'm a better spouse. I'm a better dad. Whenever I'm whole, whenever I'm spending the time in the word that I need to, when I'm praying like I need to, whenever I am healthy like I need to be, and everything, I'm in a position to love her better. And so, pardon me, it's so easy in those situations to lash out or wait, I'm not going to do a darn thing that my spouse puts an effort in. Well, that's the exact opposite of what you need to do. Work on yourself.
Yeah, start working on yourself. So we're so excited that you joined us today. Thank you. If you would like more information about A Joyful Family, you can go to our website at ajoyfulfamily.com. We are funded by supporters like you that want to partner with us to bring hope and healing to marriages across the globe. And so if you feel led to do that, it's ajoyfulfamily.com/give. We so appreciate it. We are a 501c3. So that's a tax deduction. But watch our podcast. We'll see you on social media, and we'll talk to you soon.